The unfinished sarcophagus in the Cairo Museum attracts attention for good reason, as it contains highly illustrative tool marks. Let us list all the facts. In the photographs taken at the moment of its discovery, layout lines drawn with paint are clearly visible. The intention was to saw off the back part, which would later be used as a finished lid, and it had already been shaped accordingly. At some point, however, something went wrong, and the cut changed from straight to slanted, with a radius of 73 centimeters. The direction could only have changed after the lid had broken off. Considering that the shape of the cut also shifted from straight to curved, this may indicate a change of tool or a change in its motion. For example, a flat saw could have broken, after which a pendulum-like motion was used instead. This would also imply that the goal changed. The task of manufacturing a lid turned into the task of removing its broken fragment. The cut widened significantly toward the top, which is unusual, since this would have required additional labor. And along the direction of the cut, a groove was made. Since the layout lines were drawn with paint, it is reasonable to assume that this groove served another purpose, such as supplying water to the cutting zone or collecting worn-off metal particles. At the same time, on one side of the groove the surface is polished, while on the other it remains rough and slightly higher in elevation, which sometimes gives the impression that the stone was pushed outward during the cutting of the groove. In reality, this is an illusion. Still, the question remains, how could such an uneven groove have been made? Its appearance is generally consistent with ancient stoneworking techniques. Similar traces are observed elsewhere. The cut itself contains pronounced scratches located at the bottom of the kerf. Above that level there are none. The surface is polished. Accordingly, this polishing occurred during the cutting process. It can also be noted that the dark hornblende lies lower in relief than the quartz and feldspar, and therefore does not contain scratches. The same pattern is observed on the saw cut of Khufu's sarcophagus. On modern cuts, and in experimental reconstructions, the scratches pass through all minerals uniformly. When a flat saw is used, deviations or fluctuations in kerf width occur, also typical of ancient cuts. It is noteworthy that only the backside was intended to be sawn off, the optimal choice for producing a finished lid. The lateral sides were not cut in this manner, which indicates the overall effectiveness of sawing. In other words, the choice ultimately worked against it.